Welcome to Semiconductor News Decoded. I'm Ty, with 31 years inside the semiconductor industry, bringing you the real view from the factory floor. Today's topic, the Japanese government's plan to mobilize 370 trillion yen in public and private investment across 17 strategic fields, led by AI and semiconductors, by fiscal year 2040. Let me break down what this number actually means and why physical AI might be the real story hiding behind it.
As always, I'll explain everything in the most simplified way possible. Even a middle schooler should be able to follow along. If you're a specialist watching, some parts may feel oversimplified, but I'd like to prioritize giving everyone the big picture first. Think of it as a town government and its shop owners pooling money to grow a local shopping district over the next 20 years. So sit back and enjoy.
Here's how I describe today's news. Imagine a shopping district in a small town, one that's been quietly preparing to grow over the next 2 decades. The mayor steps up to the podium and announces, by 2040, the town and its shop owners will together invest 370 trillion yen to grow this district. And just to be clear, this is not a revenue target. The mayor is not saying the shops will earn 370 trillion. He's saying the town and the private sector will pour that money in together to build something great. The district has 17 types of shops: robot delivery services, space parts dealers, anime and game content studios, and more.
But the one shop getting all the attention is what I'd call the smart worker rental shop. Recent machines can think for themselves and take physical action in the real world. Food-serving robots in restaurants, autonomous delivery trucks on the road. The mayor has branded this concept physical AI. Simply put, think of it as ChatGPT, but now it has hands and legs.
And here's the key insight. This smart worker rental shop is not trying to own the robot market. It's going after the human labor market. Think about a care home. Right now, it takes many human caregivers to look after the residents. But if robots can step in and assist, some portion of that labor cost shifts toward robot rental fees. Not all of it. Robots are assistants, not wholesale replacements. But a meaningful slice of it moves over.
The same logic applies to agriculture. With fewer young people willing to work the fields and the farming population aging rapidly, robots that can water, monitor, and harvest crops could gradually absorb part of what farms currently spend on human labor. Behind that headline number of 370 trillion yen is a massive structural shift. The market that used to belong to human workers may slowly be claimed by machines, and that's an enormous economic opportunity.
So we've been talking about how physical AI is targeting the human labor market, but that raises an obvious question. Does Japan actually have a shot at winning this market? To power physical AI, you need semiconductors, and Japan's semiconductor industry has very clear strengths and very clear weaknesses. Let me get into the specifics now.
Let me summarize the shopping district stance. The mayor's announcement is not about revenue. It's about investment to build. The 17 shops represent the 17 strategic fields, and the star shop is physical AI, sitting inside the AI and semiconductors banner. With that framing in mind, let's look at what the real Japan growth strategy actually says. The government has set a target of 370 trillion yen in public and private investment across 17 strategic fields. These include AI and semiconductors at the top, plus shipbuilding, space, quantum, biotech, defense, and more. Physical AI, think humanoid robots and autonomous systems, is not a separate standalone category. It sits at the core of field number 1, AI and semiconductors. And honestly, what I've just described in that shopping district analogy maps almost exactly onto what's happening in Japan's industrial policy right now. One critical point to understand is the dual role semiconductors play in this strategy. On one hand, chips are treated as a sovereign strategic asset, vital for economic security in their own right, independent of AI. On the other hand, they are the essential infrastructure for running AI. Data centers, power systems, and sensors all depend on them. Semiconductors are embedded in Japan's national strategy in 2 distinct and simultaneous ways.
The concept that stands out most to me in this announcement is physical AI. The government's own documents use this term to describe AI that operates physically in the real world. Food-serving robots, self-driving vehicles, autonomous factory transport systems. This is fundamentally different from generative AI, like ChatGPT, which lives entirely in the digital realm. Physical AI acts in the physical world, and that distinction matters enormously for what kinds of semiconductors will be in demand.
According to government projections, the global physical AI market is expected to reach approximately 60 trillion yen by 2040. Japan's target is to capture more than 30% of that, roughly 20 trillion yen, with combined public and private investment of around 10.5 trillion yen to get there. These are extremely ambitious numbers. But given Japan's deep historical roots in robotics manufacturing, this is not an unrealistic ambition, provided the strategy is executed with discipline.
My own view, after 31 years on the factory floor, is that physical AI's real target is the human labor cost market. The economics are straightforward. Robots make commercial sense when their deployment cost falls below the cost of the human labor they replace. In elder care, chronic labor shortages have been a structural problem for years. In agriculture, the workforce is aging rapidly and shrinking. These two sectors are the most likely candidates for robot substitution at scale, and they represent enormous pent-up demand. But physical AI cannot function without semiconductors, and the hardware requirements are demanding. Autonomous robots need high-performance chips capable of real-time edge inference. That means image sensors for perception, microcontrollers for motor control, and edge AI chips for autonomous decision-making, all working together in a tight, power-efficient package. The semiconductor stack that sits underneath physical AI is deep and complex. This is where Japan has genuine competitive advantages. In image sensors, Sony Group holds a world-class market position and is the clear global leader. In microcontrollers for automotive and industrial applications, Renesas Electronics has strong credentials and a deeply loyal customer base. And in raw materials, Shinitsu Chemical and Sumco together hold a near oligopoly in the global silicon wafer market. Japan's semiconductor strengths are real, and they align well with exactly what physical AI needs. But the weaknesses are equally real. In leading-edge logic semiconductors, TSMC, the Taiwanese contract chip manufacturer, dominates the global market, and Japan is significantly behind. The TSMC fab being built in Kumamoto through the JSM joint venture is one serious attempt to close that gap, but access to the most advanced process nodes at 2 nanometers and below remains an unsolved challenge for Japan. On the infrastructure side, as physical AI scales up, the volume of real-world data generated will require massive cloud processing capacity. The associated data center investment is expected as a supporting layer within the AI and semiconductor field, rather than a standalone strategic category. And the power implications are significant. The combination of renewable energy and nuclear power will be a live and contentious policy debate as Japan tries to fuel its AI ambitions in a sustainable way. Space is also one of the 17 strategic fields, and the semiconductor connection is direct. Demand for radiation-hardened chips and system-on-chip solutions for small satellites is expected to grow substantially in coming years. These are niche products with very different design requirements from consumer electronics, and they command high margins. Japan's precision manufacturing capabilities and advanced materials expertise are genuinely well-suited to this segment. Quantum computing is also part of the picture. Practical quantum computers require highly specialized semiconductor components, cryogenic control circuits, ultra-low temperature systems that are nowhere near commercial mass production yet. But government designation as a strategic field should meaningfully accelerate research investment. Japan's Riken Institute is one of the leading organizations pushing this frontier forward, and that institutional base matters. Let me recap what we've covered in scenes 8 through 18. The real significance of the 370 trillion yen announcement is not the number itself. It's the conceptual reframing of AI from a digital phenomenon into a technology that physically reshapes the real world. Semiconductors sit at the foundation of that transformation, serving multiple simultaneous roles: AI chips, sensors, microcontrollers, and materials. Physical AI's primary commercial target is the labor cost market,
especially in care and agriculture, where robots can step in for work that humans are no longer available or willing to do. Japan's strengths in image sensors, microcontrollers, and materials are real competitive assets, but the gap in leading-edge logic semiconductors remains a structural challenge. TSMC's involvement through JSM is a partial solution, not a complete answer. And data center, power, space, and quantum investments complete the semiconductor ecosystem that Japan has woven into this one national strategy.
To wrap up my perspective, if I had to name the real core of this 370 trillion yen strategy, I would say it is physical AI. The day that robots with real-world mobility, care assistance, agricultural machines, autonomous vehicles begin substituting for human labor at a meaningful scale, demand for semiconductors, sensors, and data center infrastructure will enter a long structural uptrend. Whether Japan can ride that wave comes down to two things: securing reliable access to advanced process nodes and building a credible proof-of-concept track record in care and agricultural robotics fast enough to claim market leadership. Those are the two critical unknowns I'm watching most closely.
That's all for today. I'll keep bringing you semiconductor news and analysis. So if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been Ty on Semiconductor News Decoded.